Alright guys, so I am officially back. It's been like a year and some change since I actually dedicated myself to making YouTube videos. But I'm gonna get into everything. As you can tell from the title of this video, I am making over $60,000 a year at 19 years old. I started doing YouTube all the way back like I think 2 years ago, and basically since then I've started doing something called software engineering. A lot of you guys know what this is. A lot of you guys probably don't, but it basically just means that I write code. And usually people in my position, they get paid like 90 grand, but I wasn't gonna take this opportunity for granted. But I'm gonna get into all the details and you guys are gonna find out exactly what's going on, why I've been gone, and what's going on now. All right, so back in 2018 when I was like freshman year of high school and I just started learning how to code by making video games. That was when pretty much all of this started. So my dad was like, yo, you're just messing around all day. You're not doing anything productive. Why don't you go learn how to code? And so I did. I did something that I'm very interested in, which is games, and I decided to just learn how to make them. So this guy named Brackeys, some of you guys probably know who he is if you're in the game development sort of side of YouTube, or at least back then. He's probably like retired now. This guy named Brackeys, he makes these entertaining but educational game dev videos, specifically around Unity, and that's how I got into tech, I guess. Yeah, so that was 2018. I was learning how to code. I was developing one game in particular. I didn't release it until I graduated high school. So that takes us to 2021. In 2021, I think the pandemic was going on back then. So basically, I was going through high school and I was at, I think, my junior year. So that's my third year of high school. And I was about to drop out. I was about to just, we were remote anyways. I mean, I wasn't even physically at school, so I was just like, I'm about to just drop out and try and become a professional game developer / indie dev and make a hit mobile game or whatever. And I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna drop out. I don't want to go to school anymore. So I didn't end up dropping out because the main guy at my high school, what do we call him? Yeah, Dr. K, we'll call him that. He's like the head of the high school, and he was like, hey man, I hear this stuff about you about to drop out. Like, what's going on? Why are you dropping out of high school? You're about to graduate next year. And I was like, you know what, I really don't want to do this anymore. I think that I can be successful on my own. So he said, you can graduate your junior year if you just take double the classes. So you don't need to do that. You can get your diploma and you can just graduate a year early. So I was like, you know what, I'm not going to pass up that opportunity. So in 2021, at 16 years old, turning 17 that year, but I graduated just a year early. That was also the year that I released the mobile game that I was working on, that I was learning how to make ever since 2018, and I'll show some footage on screen and some screenshots of that game. It was not very good, I'll be honest. I didn't really know what I was doing in terms of coding, best practices, and user experience. It just wasn't very good, but I did end up releasing an official production game in 2021. So that takes us to 2022. Yeah, I pretty much skipped an entire year of being productive after I graduated. So in 2022, after my year-long break, I decided that I was definitely not going to go to college, because if you can't tell, I don't like being confined to institutions. I was just about to drop out of high school. Thankfully, I didn't have to do that. So I kind of like, whenever I can take a shortcut, I tend to do that. So in 2022, I decided to go to a different sort of institution. It's shorter, and I'll get to that in a second. My parents were already enrolled in this program, and they pretty much told me, like, you can become a professional software developer in just a year. So they told me about this program called Pursuit. You guys don't know what this is unless you live in New York City. Even still, you probably don't even know what it is because it's just in New York City. It's a software engineering fellowship at which they teach you full stack web development, or whatever is sort of like the market at that time, they'll teach you how to do that in a year. So basically, I learned how to make websites. It was the end of 2022. So basically, for the entire year of 2023, I was learning how to make websites from the back end to the front end. I pretty much learned all that stuff, how to collaborate on GitHub and how to be a professional developer. I also met a bunch of industry professionals from, FANG. I don't work in FANG now. I'm not making this salary from FANG, but I did meet a lot of FANG employees. I did that in 2023. All the way up until the end of 2023 when I was supposed to graduate. They actually delayed it a bit until January of this year, of 2024. So I did graduate at the beginning of this year and I wanted a job so bad. I pretty much stopped attending classes at Pursuit because I just was like, I'm ready to work. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to just work. So it pretty much did take about a year for me to actually land a full-time role. So it was about a year in 6 months. I think we're halfway into this year now. I just landed my first job. So you guys are ready to hear about the salary. The whole point of this video is that I'm making $60,000 a year at 19. So I'm going to get into all the details about my salary right now. The offer that I got initially for this job was $60,000 on the dot, and the range for the position was $50,000 through $70,000. So I got kind of like officially the offer was right there in the middle of $50,000 to $70,000 plus bonuses. I would be making, if I got 100% of my bonuses, I would make closer to 70K, which is $67,000 if I get all of my bonuses, but base offer is 63. But you guys want to hear about how much do I actually get to keep and what am I spending? So like what is the actual net amount that I get from all of this? So I'll get into that in a minute. I live in New York City, as I've said previously. Here they tax you on a bunch of different things. I'm not sure if it's like that everywhere. I do get taxed quite a bit. Gross per week, I get paid around $1,200. So if I wasn't being taxed, I would be keeping $1,200 every week. But since I do have to pay tax, my company withholds a pretty good amount of money and I keep $920 give or take per week. I mentioned before that I kind of took a shortcut and I joined this fellowship called Pursuit. So they don't make you pay anything up front, which is why it's actually pretty decent. So I didn't have to pay anything to get that sort of education. Now I have to pay things because I earn enough with my new job, so I have to pay them. So since I make $63,000 per year, the amount of money that I owe Pursuit every single month is $525. Every single month, automatically, $525 I have to give to Pursuit. And I think I owe, in taxes, I owe about $240. I think that's every week. That's how much my company is withholding. Basically, the amount of money that I'm retaining every single month after everything, around $3,200 every month. But it doesn't end there because, yes, I have to pay rent, I have to pay a cell phone bill, and I have to pay for food. All these things are pretty much necessities and you can't escape that. Even though technically after everything I'm required to pay, I keep around like $3,200. The actual amount of money that I get to spend each week, if I, save the amount of money that I need to pay for rent, all things like that, I actually get to spend around $250 per week. So no, I'm not living some sort of lavish lifestyle, and this salary is not something that I'm bragging about, but it is the point that I'm at in life, and it's kind of why I haven't been uploading and I've just been focusing on more of like a day job and sort of career to be having a sustainable life at the moment. In addition to doing YouTube, I do have a life outside of that, which is this software coding and all of that stuff. That's pretty much the overview of how everything has been going and why I've been gone. So if you guys are excited for me to be back, make sure you guys like this video, share it, do all that. And if this is your first time seeing me, make sure you subscribe because I have a lot of stuff prepared. Make sure you guys stay tuned for that. And yeah, that's about it. See ya.